Gowdy, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I suspect most members of this committee know how they're going to vote. They probably knew earlier this morning how they're going to vote, so I don't think any of this is going to change any minds. But I do want to talk for a second to the folks who may be following this back home, just trying to figure out what these lawyers are arguing about. Mr. Chairman, there are two separate issues at play. Number one is whether or not you have to come when you have been issued a summons or a subpoena. There are people sitting in jury rooms right now all across this country because they received a summons. Even though they're not going to be called for jury service, they may be excused, they may frankly be disqualified, but you still have to come. There are subpoenas being issued all across this country to firefighters and EMS and police officers and doctors and everyone else who may have witnessed anything from a crime to a traffic accident. They may not get called as a witness, but they have to come. So issue number one is whether or not you have to come when you are issued legal process. And the answer is yes. The witness himself or herself does not get to pick and choose which legal process you're going to follow and which one you're not, or nobody would go to jury service. So issue number one is, do you have to come? Issue number two is whether or not you have to talk. And unless your name is Jack Bauer, you cannot force anyone to talk. Now, we can have a robust debate about whether or not this witness has been immunized. I read the immunity agreement. And what I find interesting is the doublespeak that I hear from some of my colleagues. You cannot, in one sentence, say DOJ has refused to prosecute, that this is a nothing case, and then the next sentence say you're worried that DOJ is going to prosecute. Congress cannot prosecute anyone for anything. Nothing. The only entity in this country that can level criminal charges is the executive branch. And they have already said they're not going to do so. So where is his criminal exposure? Where is it? Unless they're going to say, Mr. Chairman, that we are worried that he is going to make a false statement before Congress. Now, that would be interesting if that's the argument. We are worried that this witness who cooperated with the FBI may tell Congress something different. Well, guess what? The agreement he has with the Department of Justice requires him to be truthful. So you would want people to say the same thing to Congress that you say to the FBI. This is what I find most interesting of all. The Department of Justice has already said they're not going to prosecute anybody for anything. This matter is closed. Nobody's going to be prosecuted. But I'll bet you that agreement allows for this witness to cooperate with other entities of government. In fact, in the old days, it required that witness to cooperate with other entities of government. And I'll tell you why, Mr. Chairman. I have sat while some of the very members who are sitting in this room right now provided oversight over the FBI, over national security letters. They didn't give one whit second thought about second-guessing the FBI and the issuing of national security letters. I mean, who else would provide oversight over the FBI if not for Congress? And I listened to some of the very same members on this committee provide oversight over the Department of Justice, over the prosecution of Ted Stevens. So they have no problem providing oversight over the Department of Justice when they don't like the outcome. But when they do like the outcome, oh, no, we cannot second guess. That is the one entity in this republic that can never be second guessed is the FBI. I find that fascinating, particularly coming from as many criminal defense attorneys as we have on the other side who made a dadgum living questioning the FBI. I mean, that's how they made their living, is second guessing the FBI. But no, once you take the oath of office for Congress, whatever they do, you don't want to prosecute the big banks, FBI, we're fine with that. You don't want to do anything about the people who committed fraud during the housing crisis, we're fine with that. God forbid we ask the FBI anything. All I want to know, Mr. Chairman, is did you give immunity to the person who destroyed federal records after a subpoena was in place? That's a fair question, and I would think every member of Congress would want to know the answer.
Gentleman's time has expired.